It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, and our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. On this episode, we have the one and only Dr. Jacqueline Dowdy. She's in the building. She'll be talking about D3 leadership. I don't know what that is. We're going to figure it out in a moment. What's going on, Dr. Jacqueline? How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me on your show. It's a
Well, thank you so much
great
for being
pleasure
here.
to
We
be here.
appreciate it. And, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. We're talking about leadership again. And leadership means different things to different people. Can you take a moment, since we'll be talking about D3 leadership, and give us, I know it's going to sound kind of corny, but it's so true. What's your definition of leadership these days? And if you can add on to that, what makes a leader a good leader or a great leader? Loaded
So,
question,
what I
I'm
will
sure.
tell you is that leadership is more than just a position. Leadership is about you as a person who knows how to lead, a person who has resilience, and a person who understands how to navigate challenges and who has a attention to the landscape of their organization and the people that follow them. And then your next question was,
What makes
what
a good
really
leader?
makes them a good leader? One is that when you are faced with challenges and when you are faced with what I talk about in my book, deceptions and deficits and other challenges, you got to know how to pivot. You got to know how to work through those different challenges and work with your team in order to triumph over those challenges.
I love it. And it was a very loaded question, ladies and gentlemen. She can't possibly bundle it all in a minute or two, but she did a great job. I'm curious, why are people struggling to be really good leaders these days? Sounds pretty easy to me. You pivot over here, you treat everybody fairly, you work together, you set some great vision. It just seems like it should be so easy. And yet I know it's not. So I guess the question is, we're going to have a conversation in a moment about D3 leadership. We're going to let people know how famous you are. They're already reading your bio. Some folks are already Googling you. They're trying to figure out who is this person talking about leadership. But my question to you is, why are people struggling to be great leaders? And why are we having this conversation in today's world when they can go to AI and say, I want to be a good leader? And it gives them a list of things to do, and they just go do it.
Well, I'll tell you is that in any organization, whether you are an entrepreneur or you're working for a company, there are so many different challenges that you're faced with. And with each challenge, you have to know as a leader how you're going to navigate in that challenge. And a lot of times it requires judgment. It requires you to really have that leadership instinct, as well as have the resiliency to know how you're going to face the challenge. And you got to know how to keep yourself together. Now, for me, what has helped me, and that's why I wrote the book, but the book is also inspired by spiritual, biblical principles that have helped me through my leadership challenges in every leadership role that I've played, that I've been in. So, um, it's really, leadership is just not a black and white situation. You have to be willing and open, and you have to know how to adapt in every situation that you are faced in. Because, one, with leadership, we know that there are many different styles of leadership, but you have to know. how to use each style of leadership in every situation. And so in my book, I talk about the leadership styles and how you use those leadership styles in every situation and what those outcomes will be in using those different leadership styles. So you have to know how to pivot those leadership styles.
Well said. I love it. Sounds like you really love what you're doing. Before we get
I
into why you love what you're doing and what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. We haven't forgotten. You want to know what this whole D3 is about. Okay. Don't worry. We're going to ask that question. But first, let's slow down. There's some people you're meeting her for the very first time. You want to know who is Dr. Jacqueline? What's her backstory? What's her background? And what led her to where she is now? So, Dr. Jacqueline, two-part question. Number one, who are you? So give us the backstory. And number two, what was that defining moment that you knew that you wanted to help change the world through leadership?
So, first of all, let me just tell you, my background is sort of a blend of corporate strategy, executive leadership, and ministry and transformative consulting that I've done over the years. And I've spent over 2 decades of leading in high stakes environments where there were always challenges from universities to nonprofits to sort of governmental agencies, and been a CEO of a health behavior organization. I've been in organizations that were dealing with deficits and instability and a whole lot of issues going on, a lot of toxic conflicts going on. And so, in those environments, I have learned how to navigate as a leader. And so, what inspired me or what caused me to really step out and create my own and step into this new arena, this entrepreneurship in developing D3 Leadership Blueprint was I had to decide in being in the workforce, there came a lot of pain. And so what I decided to do is take my pain and turn it into purpose. And so at the time I was serving as a CEO in an organization that was battling internal crisis. And God had already told me to walk away a year before. But I stayed trying to prove that I could fix it, right? And eventually I realized that obedience was better than the obligation. That so I thought that I was presenting to the organization. And so that leap of faith gave birth to the Vision and Action Business Solutions, which is my consulting business. And then the D3 Leadership Blueprint came out of that. Now, I wasn't alone in my struggle. I knew other leaders needed it. And what I had learned while I was in the trenches. And so while in the trenches, and when I came out of the trenches, I reflected a lot on my leadership journey. And so that was the birthing of the D3 Leadership Blueprint because I realized that leaders really needed to know the hardcore deal of what it means to be a leader because all this stuff happens. Deficits happen. I'm not just talking about deficits in financials. I'm talking about deficits in anything, resources, deficits in human resources, deficits in experience, whatever the deficit is. I'm talking about deception. There are a lot of deception in the workforce, in the organizations. We see that now in our country. There's a lot of things that's happening, and as leaders, we need to know how to navigate through those things. And so, for me, it's been a faith journey. It has been a leadership journey, and through that, I've learned a lot of good lessons, and I want to share that with other leaders.
I love it, by the way. And as you was being so transparent with us, the moment you all been waiting for, the D3 formula. Now, I'm going to ask you to break talk to two different audiences first. Can we talk to the folks out there? And just so you know, we have a number of folks who are dualpreneurs. They work a full time job and they're full time entrepreneur. By the way, they're taking care of a family or a relationship, or they're a caregiver, or they have kids, or they're involved in their community. They've got a lot of activities going on. So let's first talk to the person who says, "I like what I'm hearing, Shay. I'm just now getting into this." Leadership role, and I have people that directly report to me, and I'm not new in life, but I am new at being a leader. What's one, two, or three things? And new meaning they've been really leading under 2 years in a full responsibility. Does that make sense? Although they've been a leader in their church and a leader in their family. And I know some of y'all just been bad mamma jammas your whole life. But here's the question. For those folks that are 2 or 3 years into this with an organization underneath them or working, what's one or two suggestions you would give to them as leaders that can help them even before they get the book? What would you say to that person that's watching now?
Um, what I would say is you have to really believe in work life balance. Um, you have to, because for me, walking into an agency that was really about to fail, um, created a situation for me where I chose not to have work life balance because I was trying to fix it. Um, and yes, I leaned on my faith, but I still tried to fix it in my own strength. And because it was so bad, the people around me going into a new organization, I had to build trust. So wherever you are in your leadership role, I would say put work life balance first. Learn how to balance that. Also, build a good team. Build some good people around you that you can rely on, that you can trust, and begin to delegate those some of those responsibilities out to those team members and hold them accountable for those tasks that you delegate them to do. And then make sure that you are having regular meetings with that team so that you can stay abreast on what's going on, so that you won't be blindsided, and so that you can begin to build that trust factor up with your team. And then you will begin to really feel comfortable with the folks around you, and you can begin to delegate more and feel comfortable with them doing the work that you've given them to do. So build that team. And I talk a lot about building that team and trusting your team and really mentoring them, coaching them, because you can't do it all. You can't do it all. And you have to have that work life balance. Otherwise, you will burn yourself out. And that's why I can talk about it, because I burned myself out, and I
Yeah.
want to teach others to do it the way that it needs to be done.
And what do you say to the person as you're being so open with us, to the person as a seasoned leader? They've got to change. Times have changed. This isn't the year 1990. It's not the year 2000. It's not the year 2015. It's not the year 2020. It's 2025. Or whenever you watch this or see this, and whenever you get your hands on this long lost video, we know one thing: it's a different world that I believe that we're all in, and we may all agree with that. These are very challenging times that we're living in these days. So my question is to the seasoned person. They've been doing this 7, 8, 9 years, and they're like, they've got to make some modifications. They've got to make some changes. What would you say to those leaders that are watching now? And maybe it's the same thing. I don't know, but that's why I'm asking you. What would you say to those folks right now?
So I address some of those things in my book as well, because one of the things is that there are a lot of things in business sometimes that we take for granted that we don't pay enough attention to. And one of them is being very strategic in everything that you do and all the decisions that you make. Um, oftentimes we don't rely on our strategic plans. Strategic plans are, in my opinion, very powerful because you already have a blueprint for how you're going to accomplish what you need to accomplish. It's a blueprint that you can adjust whenever you need to adjust it. And it's a blueprint that you can share with your team and go ahead and delegate those tasks out for them to accomplish that work. And, give them and begin to track their performance. And so tracking performance, KPIs, key performance indicators, track those performances. But the other thing that, leaders in that have been in this game for a long time, yes, you got to begin to use the technology that's out here today. I mean, the Gen Z folks that are here, those young folks, Gen Z era, they know technology. Don't be afraid to hire the Gen Z era, human resource people, because they know the technology. AI is a big deal, and it's going to get bigger. So you need to get abreast of the technology. And also, I know all this stuff with DEI is coming out here, but I will tell you that diversity does matter. Diversity matters in your organizations, whether it's diversity in skills, knowledge, whatever it is, you need diversity in your organizations because you need differences of opinions, you need differences in mindsets, gifts, experiences. You need that in your organizations because as a leader, you don't want to be the smartest one in the room. You need to have people in the room that are smarter than you are, because you don't want to be the only one that has to do all the thinking. You want other people around you to be thinkers. And so open yourself up because what it's really about is us making leaders, right? We make leaders.
Yeah,
We
we
pour
make
into
leaders.
other people to inspire them to become the best that they can be. And that's what it's about.
And that's a great segue as you were sharing that and breaking that down. Thank you so much to a segment we have here called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you wait for this one magical moment, that moment you get to say those words, today is my January 1st. And for all the other new folks who are joining for the very first time, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show family. Thank you so much for letting us stream into your home or into your smart device or wherever you're watching. Maybe you're listening right now to the podcast. We appreciate you. Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is or how bright and sunny that past may have been, here's what I want you to know. The past no longer equals the future. So my question for the one and only Dr. Jacqueline on the other side is really two parts. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And number two, what's the time you had a setback? There was a challenge in your life, and how were you able to bounce back from it?
Wow. That is a great question, Shay. So today is my January 1st. And that moment came for me during a season when I was spiritually broken, mentally drained, and physically exhausted. I was holding on to a role that I was supposed to release, and God had already whispered it was time to go, but I ignored it out of fear and pride. And finally, I had to choose faith over familiarity. I had to choose faith over fear. And leaving that role didn't feel like a win in the moment, but it birthed the most powerful season of my life. That reset gave birth to my company and this movement of the D3 Leadership Blueprint.
Says so well, by the way. And, one, go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yes. So I didn't know whether there was a second question.
No, 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 no. That was spot on. I always like to hear first January 1st, and then what was the January 1st setback you had. You talked about a couple things at the very beginning, so you answered both together. So thank you so much. One of the questions I like to ask, and we have a few moments, and that is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll frame it for the audience so they're kind of clear that we're not actually come off the mountain with the Ten Commandments, okay? You've written a book, you read more books than you could probably remember these days. And I always say that video training, I mean, 10,000 hours, what a joke. I think we've all watched more than 10,000 hours of video training these days. But my question is, if you had to look back and say, man, of all the mentors, of all my books, of all my training, of all my reading, if I had to give one piece of advice that I just want to share with the audience that's been given to me, what would it be and why?
Um, I would say live your life in the fullness. Um, think about not leaving this earth empty. Um, think about if you are in a situation right now and that situation seems painful to you or you are struggling, begin to think about and pray about turning that struggle or that pain into purpose. And then once you have decided to do that, then when you find your purpose, then you begin to help others find their purpose and their voice. And then for me, it leads into something so wonderful and beautiful. Um, and, we struggle sometimes with being so perfect, but it's not about being perfect, but it's about being purposeful and it's about being faithful. And one of the things for me that I hold on to right now today is that I'm excited that I can build a legacy. I'm excited that when I leave this earth, I can say that I am leaving this earth um, uh, with something behind, and I can say that I've accomplished something, and I'm leaving full. You know, have accomplished what God has put me on this earth to do. So, without a, if you have a vision and if you don't put it into action, then it's just a dream that you're just having.
Yeah, just the dream, and it has to take action. I love it. Nothing happens without massive action. As we come down the home stretch, really a two-part question. Number one, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any? And number two, how can folks best connect with you? How can they get the book? Where can they connect with you so they can stay in this conversation over and beyond the time that you and I have right now?
Sure. Well, I'm looking for individuals. I'm looking for nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations I work with, doing some business coaching as well. And I'm excited that I will be at the Power of We conference in Jacksonville, Florida in April, where I will be rolling out for the very first time my nonprofit development and management online course, boot camp course. Um, at that conference. So I'm excited about that. Um, and it's a online course that will give you all the resources that you need to start your nonprofit, to learn everything that you need to know about running a nonprofit, to write a grant, to do a strategic plan, to understand everything, the financials, the hierarchy, the organizational structure, the board, all, everything is there. And so if you want to contact me, you can go to my website. It's www drjacquelinedowdy.com, or you can also go to www.getviasolutions.com. My social platform is at Dr. Jacqueline Dowdy and at VIABS. And also, my email is info at getviasolutions.com. And you can buy my book on Amazon.com, or you can go to my website at drjacqueline.dowdy.com and purchase the book online.
Well, let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Can't wait to see you at the conference, and
All
continue to do all
right.
you're doing. We'll have to connect again soon.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was awesome.
And thank you. Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, we don't have a show. So we appreciate you showing up, letting the stream be a part of your life, by the way. And I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, by the way, whether you've been hit with the punch that you never saw coming, or you're going to that next level of success, here's what I believe, that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, it hasn't changed. It's still Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. We'll make some good things how we connect again next time. God bless. Peace, Doc. We out of here. See y'all again soon. Bye-bye.